And we're live.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's happening, Facebook? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world.
We are back.
Epic Love is back in the house.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
And we're so glad to have you join us too.
And you're looking super hot.
Oh, thanks, babes. For you.
I said that to her before the camera, and I'm saying that on camera.
Oh, thanks,
and I
babe.
continue telling you that every single day that you look gorgeous.
Bless your beautiful soul. Thank
love you.
babe. I love you too.
I love you. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, very important topic, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about understanding the 3 things. Well, these are little secrets that, Vass is going to reveal today with you.
Yes.
And if you're watching this replay, #replay and tell us which was your favorite tip out
I'm
of the
like,
3.
I'm passionate about this one. I need my hands. And tell I'm from a European background.
Exactly. So, classic case, you're going to learn today about understanding this. Be careful because these secrets are not revealed every single time.
That's right.
And when it comes from Epic Love, it comes from the heart. And we've lived it, been there, done that, the whole 9 yards. Right, Bobs?
How true is that?
Exactly. So what we're talking about today is understanding the 3 secrets of how to attract a conscious man in your life without having to worry about the pain and that torture or that trauma of attracting, not wanting, unwillingly attracting or unconsciously attracting narcissists. So we want to try and talk about that here today. Hey Sharon, how you going? So take it away, Bubsy. Why are we talking about that today? Why is it important?
Well, basically, something that brought around this conversation as well is I'm writing my book. Well, I wrote my book 2 years ago in regards to 7 Ultimate Secrets to Real Love Success. And I wrote it as I was crawling, crying and dying. As you can hear from my voice, it's not 100% back yet, but I have some really great days. I spent 2.5 years out of voice. And during that painful experience of dying myself, the person I was with for 7 years didn't come to my deathbed. So I was crawling, crying and dying. I had no voice and life as I once knew it was totally gone. I'd spent 30 years in the hairdressing, makeup artistry and modelling industry, and I was anything but beauty at that time. As I said, where does one turn to in such time of distress? I honestly had no idea. So, my truth and my soul passion is to be able to allow people or be able to give people the tools that are required to be able to meet their conscious.
What's happening?
To be able to meet their conscious man or relationship, because you know what? If we are happier as people, we're healthier as, a couple, and we're actually able to, for those of you who are wanting to start families, you're actually able to basically generationally make sure that each and every life lives a happier life, because obviously they saw it in your family unit. So I really, really want to be able to make sure that every woman around the globe knows her worth, owns her worth, because if you were anything like me, I always looked for love external from myself.
Big time.
And all I kept finding were wound mates.
Whoa.
And at the end of the day, when you keep finding wound mates time after time, you lose hope. You lose hope in humanity. You lose hope in love. And I just really want to give you some tips today, some red flags and some tips as to how you can recognize a happier, conscious man rather than a narcissist, which is what I live.
Woo! Tip number 1.
Tip number 1.
Bring it home, babes.
Tip number 1 for me
Not
is...
yet. Bring it home, but...
Tip number 1 for me was very much about, is this person consistent? So if a person is very inconsistent, I would say for me that's definitely a red flag. Being able to actually have a phone call once every few weeks or once a month, for me personally was definitely not enough. I feel that love is a verb, and without consistency, I just feel you have a really good friendship. So really, really important that they're consistent, they're actually caring, they're compassionate, because without empathy, you have nothing. If that person is not empathetic to your pain or their own pain, really, it's not going to be a great life. I promise you that. I lived that as well. So yeah, it's really, really important that there is empathy, there is compassion, there is the ability to be able to have you be a priority in their life. If they're not making you a priority, you're simply an option. And sometimes you have to really understand and see the love that you're living in its truth. Sometimes that's really hard to do because the thing is you don't want to see it. You love them and you keep tolerating it. What you tolerate will continue, that I promise you. So it's really, really vitally important that you actually see the totality of the love that you're living as it really is. And if that person is not being consistent, well, they're possibly not at the same stage of life and love that you are. And sometimes we've got to let go. Otherwise, we're dragged emotionally and sometimes physically for years and years and years. And I don't know about you, but I certainly don't want that. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And you know what? It's it comes to responsibility. It comes by, hey, Rachel. Hey, Gunji.
Hello.
Who else is on here? Hey, Joanne.
Hi, Edwin.
Hey, Edwin.
Hi, Sophia.
Nathan, my brother. How are you, brother? Good to have
Thanks
you on.
for joining us. We so appreciate it.
He's such an awesome guy. Nathan is a great guy. Really great. Yeah, so, you know, like you were saying, there's part of it is also to understand the responsibility that we need to take. There is a high accountability. There's 100% responsibility for everything that we've attracted in our life. And if we got to attract this conscious man, we've got to learn to be able to become attractive. And that's a really powerful, really powerful thing to do. Yeah. And vice versa for guys. You know, if you're listening, it's the same thing. But if you're in a relationship, like as a couple, again, it's the same thing. If you're not being able to attract that level of consciousness that you want in your partner, it's because you're not there yet in your level of consciousness. That's right. And so the only way you can do that is first you becoming that in order for you to attract that within that partner and then create synergy. And if it doesn't work out, if it's not happening despite trying everything under the sun, well, then you would know by then. But, you know, you can't just give up in the first instance. It doesn't work like that. And so we're not advocating that.
That's right.
But we're certainly saying it makes a big difference to know the importance of becoming what you want to attract.
Exactly. And something I learned on my journey of life is love is not daily continual pain and depression. That is not love. It shouldn't be that. Love is not just that. Sometimes you're going to have your tough days, but if it's like that every day, if it's abuse-filled or pain-filled or mentally exhausting or, you know, totally draining and you don't know where you stand on a daily basis, to me, that's not love. That's just exhaustion.
Correct.
So it's really important that we understand what the definition of love really is, because our definition, a lot of the times, is passed down from what we've seen in our earlier childhood.
That's right.
So unless we as adults become quite interested in being able to actually sift through the indoctrination that we once, you know, had seen to be able to actually live the love that we personally feel we deserve at this point in time. So that takes inner work.
Valerie says money. How do you mean by that? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Valerie. When you say money with a question mark, what do you mean? Are you saying money-related issues, or what? Can you get a little more specific with your question?
That'd be great. Thanks,
We'd
Valerie.
love to answer it. Looking forward
Thanks.
Tip 2.
Tip 2. What would I say tip 2 is? Definitely, as I said, definitely consistency. Tip 2, in my personal opinion, when that person is not available when you need them. So if they're always making that busy excuse, I'm busy, or you can't catch them on the phone, or they always seem too busy to be able to input anything that you need into your life. That's another red flag for me, definitely, in my life, because, yeah, as I said, if somebody really wants to be in a relationship, nothing will hold them back from being there. If they want to continue to make you a choice and you make them a priority, well, you know, lifelong, you're going to always continue that same pattern. So how a person treats you on a continual basis is what becomes your living experience and reality.
Why don't you share with them what you shared with me with regards to this?
Yeah, sure. As you all know, or those of you that do know me, 29 months ago I was dying, and I suffered liver failure, and I went through almost a decade of a very, very, very painfully stressful relationship, where exactly what I'm talking about today. There were moments in my life that my house was getting broken into. I would call this man for help. He just wasn't available or there. He said he had work the next day. So that in itself, red flag. Then came back to me regarding excuses of things that he had seen in his country growing up and why he didn't come back. So I forgave. So it's that constant forgiveness and
what do you guys think? What do you guys think? What Vass is doing in the comments? Go ahead and comment below. You're listening to what Vass is saying, and she was like constantly forgiving, right? What do you guys think? What would you have done if you were in that same situation? Put that in the comments. We'd like to hear from you. At least we get some interaction.
Yeah,
so,
that'd be awesome.
We'd like to make this a two-way conversation because obviously we can't see you.
Yeah,
but at least we know you're there, and while you're there and you're listening and watching or whatever you're doing, feel free to drop the comments.
That's right. And as I said, forgiveness is important, but if you're doing it continuously every single day about different issues, then eventually you're going to be depleted. So something I learned earlier on is love takes two people willing to actually work at love. And just like, 29 months ago, I was crawling, I had no work. I could not walk, I could not talk. I wrote a book during that time because I really wanted every woman around the globe. I wanted no other woman to ever have to deal with dying and the ending of a relationship on her deathbed. That in itself just moved me. And as this book becomes released, you'll see it more and more on media, because for me, it's not about me. For me, it's about you, and it's about saving your life. And sometimes when you are in a relationship where it is highly narcissistic, we've all heard and seen what can and does happen. So it's really important in our lives that we learn self-love first, so we know what is right and wrong. We know what we can tolerate, and we know when our boundaries have been overstepped. And we have the courage to be able to stand in our truth and be able to exit much quicker than what I did. It took 10 years. And as I said, when he did eventually come back to drive me home, eventually, he said, I just really don't know why you're angry at me. Do you want me to leave and you can catch an Uber home? That's gaslighting. So it almost makes you feel a sense of insanity for asking for something as simple as, I think you should have been there on my deathbed. I wasn't with you for 2 weeks. I was with you for almost a decade. So it's really, really important to be able to stand firm in your truth. When something honestly feels wrong, trust yourself, because you are not wrong. You've really got to learn to trust yourself.
And that's probably tip number 3 right there. But before you go ahead, we just want to make sure you guys understand. So tip number one
was consistency.
Make sure that you look for consistency in your partner. And listen, everything we're teaching you here would be, to attract. Remember what the title of this particular video is about: how to attract a conscious man in your life. Now, for you to make sure that you find that consistency in that person, guess who has to be consistent first?
That's right.
That's right. We're always going to come back to you, and we're always going to say to you, are you showing consistency? If you are showing consistency, that's when you become attractive to another man who is consistent too. But if you're not, then you're not going to find him. So the reason why we have to say this to you all the time is that we went through this whole journey of trying to find this on the external.
We did.
And we're like, oh, right, okay, we understand that we need to find a partner who is consistent. Great, okay. So we kept looking for women, or I kept looking for women who were consistent. She kept looking for men, Vas kept looking for men who were consistent. But we forgot that the main person who had to exhibit that and demonstrate that was,
That's right.
us. Because we were not consistently demonstrating that consistency, guess what? We obviously attracted someone who wasn't consistently demonstrating consistency, or might have not even had it at all to begin with. That's why we keep coming back to you. So tip number one is look for consistency. The second one was about look for the presence, right? Looking for making sure that he's present for you.
That's right. Don't make somebody a priority when all they're making you is an option.
Correct. Now you need to be that too.
That's right.
You as a lady need to be that kind of a woman who is going to be present and not make anyone else a priority. A lot of times what happens is when you have kids, or if you have kids, the kids become priority and your partner just gets left by the wayside. And it happens on both parties, not just one. But we're speaking to you women. We're speaking to you today. So this is for you to remember. If for you to have that kind of a man in your life and attract that kind of a man in your life, you'll need to practice that yourself as well. Because it all starts with us. If we want love outside, we have to have love inside, right? We speak about self-love a lot. This is the whole message. So remember that. And the third part is about trusting your instinct. The third tip is about trusting your gut. Go ahead, Bob, sorry.
It's not
hey, Amy. Hey, Shaker.
Hello. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, trusting your instincts. And that goes for the male and female audience that are on right now. It's about trusting your inner self. If something feels wrong, it is wrong. And for me, love is a verb. It's not just words without action. For me, it takes both. It takes words and actions in sync to be able to create a conscious relationship. And a conscious relationship is that where two people want the same thing. Yep. It is not effort made just by one person. It is effort made by two people who are willing to be able to work to the highest good, to be able to help one another grow, obviously, and expand, and to also be able to contribute to humanity in a way that, obviously, that's the reason why you've aligned with that particular person.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really important, as I said, love is not pain, and that's something I had to learn. Love can be joyous and fun and blissful, and you do have moments in your life where, it is tough. It doesn't mean that it's a perfect day every day, but living in a higher consciousness of love without the continual blame and the continual fights that end up in, breakup. Obviously, if anything's abusive or anything like that, obviously take action. Make sure that you're safe. and, you know, safe and sane, because that is a priority. It's really, really important that you are safe. So, yeah, remember that you matter. Remember that consistency is vitally important, because if they're not consistent, even in the earlier days, or even as the relationship goes on, you know, marriage or relationship is one consistent conversation, you know, in life. You know, you want somebody that's open and able to communicate about emotions, because if they're not, it's very difficult to get through the littlest of things.
Absolutely.
The little things become the big things.
So if you enjoyed today's conversation, hey Marie, how you going?
Hi Marie, hi Amy.
If you really enjoyed today's conversation, you liked a little bit of what we just shared with you, then you have an opportunity to find out more. We've got a masterclass that's coming up. This masterclass is happening on the 4th of July, so literally in 2 days' time.
2 days, guys!
3 days. Oh, is it 2 days? Yeah, 2 days' time.
Wow.
That's right, 2nd.
July already.
So 4th of July, which is Independence Day in the United States. So any of you Americans watching right now, well, you know, that masterclass is going to be kick-ass for you, because you never know if you're just on the corner of achieving independence in your life, in your love life. So we've got that happening on the 4th of July at 7 p.m. Melbourne time. Make sure that's Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Join us.
Make sure you're
We'd
there.
love to see you there.
It's a great 60 minutes of conversation, and in fact we've got a little prezi for, as we always do as Epic Love.
We do.
We've got a little prezi for you, a little gift for you at the end of it. So make sure that you are registered and you're ready to go. Private message us, so we can send you the private message link.
Yes.
And then that way you can register for the masterclass, and Bob's your uncle, you're ready to rock and roll.
Exactly.
Okay?
Because as we all know, you know, the basis of our lives, a hell of a lot, is relationships, especially for us women.
And we didn't get taught this in school. So,
no.
you know, we learned some really cool stuff. The masterclass is about, can I share what the masterclass is about?
Go for it. That'd be great.
The masterclass is about you learning, which we didn't learn in school, and we don't learn that in school. Kids should. It's a real shame. Kids should learn that. But it's really about understanding the 3 major pieces of the love puzzle, which we had to really... We've put in 40 plus years of our lives trying to figure that out.
Right.
And we did. And that's how we formed Epic Love, and we came together.
How exciting.
So we now are on a mission to give that to you. So you have a chance to take the same thing, so that you don't have to go through the pain anymore.
You can fast track it.
Exactly.
I wish someone gave
You don't
me
have
that.
to go through the whole... You can fast track your future and desired future. You can actually heal that heartbreak and pain and suffering that you've been through, either through a past relationship or are going through right now. And you can also learn how you can unleash that goddess within you and actually turn on your she factor and bring that to the table as a diva. Right? So we're going to share all of this in the masterclass. It's exciting stuff. Both of us are going to jump together. We both have combined experience of having to help people and transform people's lives as healers, as transformational people and coaches and training. And so, you know,
and I
here we
returned
are.
from heaven twice
She's
to
done
be able
that
to
twice.
do this. So it's my love and passion.
Correct.
Because
And
as I said, I never wanted any other woman to go through what I went through, and it
Vass
drives
lives it.
me.
And
It
Vass
drives
lives it.
me.
Yeah. So Vass lives this every single day. As you can see, the passion she has, and that's what we're going to bring to the masterclass online. So you want to be there. If you're not there, that's fine. If you got more important things to do, we completely understand. But you know, for those of you who are ambitious, those of you who are really, really wildly successful, for those of you who are sick and tired of actually going into this, you know, rut
dating
of
scene, meeting the same types, the painful, non-committal types, the narcissistic types.
It doesn't help.
The list goes on.
And also, you know, you might have been working your, you know what off, and hey, Deblina, you're working your butt off, and you're just stuck. Life is not just about work, and if that's what you're saying to yourself, and you really want to know how you can get your love life sorted,
that's right,
regardless of whether you're in a relationship or not, then well, jump on and hang out with us for an hour. It's free. You're not paying anything for that masterclass, and you can take that knowledge for free, and you know it will make an impact in your life, because we know that whatever we're sharing, those three pieces, those are what we have found, and we apply it every single day of our lives. So we're excited to share that with you.
That's right, and we actually feel
live it.
Yes, exactly, within our souls. Why we can teach it is because we lived it. We've lived the pain, and now we live the. I always call it heaven and hell, like hell and heaven. Yeah. You know what I mean? We've lived the hell, and we really understand, and we really know, and really feel for you, because we've been there. Yeah. We've been in those shoes. Yeah. And now, fast forward, you know, I'll be 44 this year, and Sohan's 41. You know, we've come across somebody and attracted somebody into our lives who is more conscious, who has done the inner work, because we've done the inner work individually. If you don't do the inner work, it's much more difficult to be able to reach that higher consciousness and reach that conscious man, because you're going to keep attracting the levels in which you are at. like attracts like.
Yep.
So we'll fill you in more with the masterclass. Please join us on July the 4th.
Yeah, it's at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Let's rock and roll, have fun.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We just want to jump on, see how everybody was going, and share a little bit more about love.
Absolutely.
Matters. And then 100%. Dance it out, baby.
Because it makes a big difference.
Woo! This is our song.
This is my favorite song.
Are you ready?
Remember the song? I don't know if you guys remember the song.
Is it loud?
I love this song.
Couch dancing. Join us.
You know, a lot of you know that you like this song.
Hi, Dennis.
Hey, what's happening, Danielle?
Hi, Danielle. Woo!
So make sure you're with us. It's good fun.
It is. Woo! Love can be fun, guys. It's
and
not
it should be fun. It ought to be fun. It should be an extraordinary experience. So if you want to experience that, hang out with us at the masterclass and hopefully you enjoyed it.
Thanks, Sabrina. Much love.
Anytime. All right. We're going to catch you guys soon.
Woo!
Take care. Watch the replay. #replay. And if you're really keen to get the link to our online masterclass that's happening on this
Let's connect.
Thursday, which is the 4th of July, make sure that you private message us or drop a comment below right here saying love puzzle. Woo! That's the word. Love puzzle. So type love puzzle and then we'll send you the registration link to the online masterclass. It's free. Let's rock and roll. Have fun. Right. Woo! Remember, the key words are love puzzle. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Have fun.
Woo!